Starting? All right. Another weekend.
Another weekend.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to another week of the Australian Real Estate News Weekly Highlight. This is Gary.
Hi.
And this is Peter. So nice to see you again. Another Saturday, another week. After a crazy last week.
More crazy.
Yeah. The craziness hasn't really stopped in the Sydney real estate market. Me and Gary had a brief chat before, and then we think this world is going into a little bit of a chaotic situation at the moment, leading by our dearest President Trump getting the COVID. After presidential debate, which could mean the other party may probably get it too. So we'll see how. And a couple of other people in the White House, I guess. So we don't know what's going to happen, but we're thrilled to see. Going back to Sydney real estate market, Australian real estate market, we have more sales, we had more records, we had a lot more strong indications of the market. So no further ado, let's start with the first article about this week. So the first article is what responsible lending reforms could mean for housing and borrowers, which means I think at the moment, if you want to lend money from the Australian bank, there's a lot of process, a lot of things you have to go through, like lending in any other bank. But this has been further tightened since 2018 with the government and also with the bank. And now it looks like the government is trying to let the bank get relaxed a little bit more.
Seems so. But until we see exactly what they're proposing, we don't know. But I was just saying to Peter earlier, it's a bit funny because the banks have all been tightening off their own bat. It's like they're tightening because they're concerned about people's creditworthiness. And then you get the government trying to relax it. So we'll have to see what they're proposing.
What they're proposing, which could happen really quickly because we've been talking about this for quite a few weeks now. But let's just say, from our prediction, something definitely going to happen. This is not going to be just a talk. This is going to be some actions is actually going to happen. So let's take a look about what the prediction of the government, relaxed process would result after this being introduced. So obviously the government argues lending is too restrictive, it's just too complex, and then especially I think for a lot of first home buyers, they might get scared off. At the end of the day, all the incentives, all the stimulus for the first home buyers, if they can't get up to the bank and then get a loan approval, then all this incentive will be nothing. So they're really trying to, I think this is more for the first home buyers and let them to, there's actually another article particularly talks about, the first home buyers and the relaxed on lending criteria, just to get them committed into the market. So whatever the government trying to stimulate will get a result back, which we'll talk a bit more in the second part session.
I mean, clearly what the government are trying to do is they're trying to stimulate demand and then get the builders. And the big concern is that construction stops. The property industry is about 25% of the Australian economy. And if the construction of new apartments and houses stop, then obviously that means you've got a lot of builders out of work and traders. So that's what they're really worried about. They're trying to boost demand so that developers keep building.
And from lender beware to borrower beware. This is from the government and saying they will simplify the system by moving away from a one-size-fits-all approach to lending while strengthening consumers' protections for those who needed it. So it's more, I think the whole ease part is, it will make it tighter for the people that need to be tightened, and it will make it easier for the people that really needed it. I think that's how. I think that's how the whole approach is going to fall into it.
I think we just got to see the detailed print and see what it means, really.
That's right.
They haven't put forward their detailed proposals yet.
Yep, that's right. And obviously that also includes make the application process easier.
This is the one, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the one.
Saying that the banks can assess the loan applications.
Yep.
They're obviously going to put their own spin on it, depending
right.
on what risk they're willing to take. But there we go.
That's right. And obviously the changes will leading to the boost of housing industry.
Yeah,
for sure.
That's what they're after. That's what the government's after.
That's what the government is after. So let's just see. This is more like what do you call, like a little bit teaser or a little bit trailer before the main movie falls down,
okay.
right? Yeah. So let's just see in the next few weeks how this gonna turn out.
Quite interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah, I can understand that. And I've always thought I've always said that when you get a mid-term downturn like what we're going into, normally it goes down about 10%. But I'm a bit undecided now. And the reason for that is that interest rates are going down, and it looks like they're going to keep going down. I was looking at the numbers out of the States from the last week, and all the indicators are that US interest rates are going to keep going down.
That's right.
So
That's right.
if that reflects through onto us, then clearly that's probably why Westpac are now saying instead of 10, they're talking about 5.
Just to read it for the people that couldn't see it.
Yeah.
The code is from I think Westpac Bank, right?
Yeah, it's Westpac.
Yeah, a number of economists initially predicted house prices would fall by about 10% from their April 2020 peak. However, many now expect the milder correction about 5% into the mid-2021 before the prices rise again. So which means majority of the economists will think the Australian prices wouldn't go any further than 5% and wouldn't fall any longer until mid of next year.
Yeah.
And then the price will come back again. Westpac, being one of the largest banks in Australia, forecast the prices would then surge by 15% over 2022 and 2023. Yeah, which means the prices will increase by 15%.
It doesn't say whether that's 15% a year or 15% over the 2 years, does it?
Yeah,
You can't tell.
I think it's 15% over the 2 years.
Good.
Yeah, like 7.5% a year. That's a lot of increase already.
Well, that's a lot. I mean, I was looking at the figures. I should have sent them to you. I think it was the Real Estate Institute put out some figures the other day that said that Coleroy, for properties over 2 million, in the 3 months to the end of September, Coleroy was the highest with 10%. 10% growth, followed by Willara at 9%.
Okay.
So, I don't know,
you're good.
I'm mucking my mic around.
Yeah, you're good.
So 10%, and that was over 3 months.
Yeah.
So, if a lot of Sydney, I looked at the rest of the suburbs afterwards, and they were pretty, 6, 7, 8% over 3 months. So basically, what we've had is a 10% surge easily since April, which is deemed to be the peak. So, it means that really when you look at the graph in a few years' time, you look at the graph for house prices for Sydney, they'll just keep on going up.
Just keep on going up.
5% next year will just be a little.
Just a little spike.
If you can see it.
If you can see it.
I mean, there are certain suburbs of Sydney, as I said last week, that are suffering, and that's really where you've got oversupply of apartments which have been overbuilt in the lead up, and a lot of that still is stock remaining from the 2017 when the Royal Commission tightened everything. That's still going through. Places like Rouse Hill, etc.
Yeah, that's right. And eventually this thing will get digested, which we will include in the next part. The 6 steps to take economy recovery in real estate sector, which we're going to talk about as well. How we're going to digest all these properties. So the next article would be this came out on the 1st of October. Home prices boosted as the economy shocks from COVID-19 ease. So house prices has fallen since the beginning of the COVID-19, but now it's coming back. Like the other article was saying, even if it's gonna fall, the prediction will be about 5% until the mid next year, and then followed by a 15% increase. In some areas, the prices has already been,
it's already gone.
has already
Anywhere
gone
in
up.
Sydney which hasn't got vast new amounts of apartments is going up.
Yeah, we have a data which, if anyone is interested, please let us know. We are happy to share to you about recent house prices surges and unit prices surges. The unit start to increase prices in all these low density areas. Very similar to the graph that we had last week about the renters who are looking for properties. Lower North Shore, near CBD, low rise, medium density area, low density area, the unit prices and apartment prices start to come back up. And house prices, very interesting, the highest house prices increment over the past few months are actually Stressville, and it's by 34%. Yeah, 34%. Because and that really come down to how the infrastructure and everything else plays with plays out. Where Stressville is a very central located area in Sydney, in the Greater Sydney region, at least, and it's got very equal distance and traffic to the eastern suburb, the south, the west, and and everywhere. That's how the prices are really sort of starting to increase. And also the price increment was based on a price falling at the earlier this year as well. So some of the areas got hit really hard, now start to resume and come back. And if it fall by 10%, it come back at 10%, that's 10% increment already. And then if it's a little bit higher than what it was, that's easily a 12-13% increase. So put another way, it looks like for whoever trying to get a bargain in Sydney, they better move in quick now because the market is really started to heat back up. And a lot of auctions are started happening. This year, I reckon will be very interesting because in general, December and January is going to be a very quiet time for the real estate industry, especially for real estate brokers like us. However, because there's no international travels resume this year, a lot of people are gonna have to stuck inside Australia. So I really think the market will probably keep going for a while in December and January,
So you
even
think
when it's time off.
instead of going on a foreign holiday, they'll buy a house instead, is that what you're saying?
Oh, well, they probably will have a look at some other type of Christmas gift. And I can't remember how many mothers and fathers has called me and say, "Hey, do you have anything good? I want to get this first home thing locked in for my daughter, for my son. It's about the time, and right now I only need to pay as little as 5% deposit for them and let them work out their way into mortgages, at least put some responsibility into them to make sure they save some money."
That's right.
So it's
That's the other thing, it's just say that Melbourne's going down at the moment still, but that will soon bounce, as I said. Once they get the lockdown restrictions gone in Melbourne will just take off.
That's right. In September, I think if we're going back to about 4 or 6 weeks ago, which is in late July or early August, if you want to go back to see the broadcast we had back then, we have predicted a September slope rather than the September cliff. And then now September is finished. Let's have a look. I think we're only wrong about Melbourne, and everywhere else is definitely a slope rather than a cliff. And Melbourne is not because the asset value is not there. It's simply just because the COVID lockdown and it's been too long, and there's no open houses, and people just can't really get used to buying properties without really seeing it. But talk about that. We're gonna have a first buyer who's did a record prices in another, lower North Shore property. Again,
sight unseen.
Sight unseen investment. We're not talking about, we're not really here to talk about whether it's a good market or bad market. We're simply giving some tools and indications and combine that with the news to let people to do their own analysis about whether it's a good market or bad market. Whether it's a rising market or falling market.
It's very much a rising market.
That's right.
And certainly will so until Christmas.
Even in some place that's not really a capital, well, not like Sydney, but Brisbane, Perth, Canberra, Adelaide all have, growth, 0.8%.
Well, Perth's a big turnaround because Perth's been really poor until just recently.
That's right.
As we discussed last week, that's because the mining industry's bounced back.
Yeah. So there we go. Another article: home buyers to get faster access to loan and proposed new rules to boost economy. So again, I think it's from the bank and the government about how they can make it more streamlined, how they can make the home loan easier, especially for the people who needed it. A lot of time, for homeowners at this stage, lending, because it's one thing fit for all structure, so everyone had to go in there through the same process. Where I think later on this will become very similar to the hospital approach. You know how when you go to a hospital, there's a nurse at the reception to examine you about how serious your problem is, and then put you in the queue accordingly. Where if you just normal cold or catch a little bit of a thing, you can just get it done in medical center. They just drop you a pill of Panadol and just get you to wait there until you walk away. Which we have done it. Because in China, we don't really have medical centers. We only have, at least at the time I arrived in Australia, which is back in year 2000, we only go to the proper hospitals. For treatments and all that. Where in Australia, it's the first time that we understand, don't go to hospital for anything. Just go to hospital for something really serious injury.
Because otherwise you're wasting the valuable resources.
That's right. And I think the banking side will be tailored more towards that way as well, where there's gonna be probably some sort of preliminary access about how much you needed the loan, and then put you into different categories, and then to for people who needed it, and then who never borrowed before but have a really good credibility, then they can get a faster more streamlined approach. Where people just trying to buy 20, 30 apartments, houses, and then just use it for living, maybe you'll get a bit, priority slow down, something like that. Maybe, we never know.
Let's see.
So it'll be a very interesting thing to see, but bear in mind this is happening, and the reason why I picked two news, both related to the same topic this week, is if this is happening, then what will happen is the market will get pushed again towards the upper side. The prices will get pushed up again, because it's easier for people who needed money to lend to get money from the bank.
I think a lot of it though will depend on at the time. They're just talking about a case on this, which is quite. I don't know what the since, but
which one?
Saying
Here or
some
there?
guy did all the right thing, put down their deposit, got their assessment pre-approval from the bank, and then he got promoted at work. And then what happened?
It's a good thing.
And then the bank obviously was a change in circumstance, and therefore the loan.
But the loan need to be run again, even though he get paid more money, because there's a change in his circumstances. So the whole application have to be resumed and reaccessed again. Which is just nuts, isn't it? Which is just nuts, and determine again how much he can borrow, and then knowing his settlement is coming up, he's in a very, very tight shoe. So
this someone will go, "You have a promotion." You go, "No,
not making any more money. Don't pay me more. Don't promote my role. I want to still.
Don't rock the boat.
I want to just at the rock bottom. No problem. No problem. Just put another rock on me. So this is another new change is the bank would, instead of be able to immediately access and change in circumstances, did not navigate affect borrowing capacity. So this just the little things that's going to help. I believe that when it comes down to each individual cases, it will be each individual cases scenario.
Well, that makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, that was just ludicrous. Anyway.
So let's take another look. Now going back to our weekly, really crazy housing market. COVID has an damp desire for low and no short property, even if buyer can't see it in person. So a lot of people at the beginning of the year saying the third market is gone, the foreign buyer market is gone, and looks like now it's turned around again. So it's like a boomerang. It's gone and now it's coming back. So there we go. Offshore buyers, international travelers are always very interested in Australian property, especially for the lower North Shore area in Sydney. And we're in Chatswood. And if you ever live in Chatswood near here, you would exactly understand why. It's a very international suburb, and it's very tolerant for all kind of cultures to come together. And the school, majority of the school are equipped with language speaking teachers, employees. Even in the eastern suburb, you know how my son studies in the eastern suburb, and every morning I drive him to the school. I think 2 days out of 5 days in a week, there will be Chinese speaking teachers greeting everyone. And then for the parents who doesn't understand much of English, then they will approach the parents and say, this is how your son behaves at school, this is what he's thinking, this is where you need to be careful about, this is where you need to train him, and this is where he done right.
Oh, right.
Yeah, at the morning, the drop-off time, to the Chinese parents.
That's good.
Which I think is a very good thing, and this is why Australia has become so popular and remains so popular for international migrants over the years. This is also reflected in the housing market. So Dai Jun's, who is a local North Shore agent, has put up this home at the year of 1930, and then sold it to an offshore buyer who hasn't even seen the property, right? Yeah, it does have a really good view, that's for sure. Yeah, so that's the view. Very nice.
On a ridge.
Yeah, the heads. Balmoral again.
Hong base, excellent.
Yeah, Hong Kong base.
So again, but coming back to what we said last week, it's an expat, so presumably they probably knew Sydney anyway. They can see the photos, but they've got a buyer's agent, and the buyer's agent will look after them, and if necessary get people like structural people and building people inspections beforehand. We're actually, after last week, we were having a discussion on, we have a family dinner once a week, and most of my kids and partners and all that kind of thing, they're all into property and as agents and things. And
Max and Tony.
Max, Toby's partner, she works for a real estate agency, and we're just having a discussion that the way to go, if somebody wants an opportunity, is to, what will happen now is we'll just get things like apartments will get sold with camera views, etc. So, people will, I would always go and touch something before I bought it, but people are getting away from that now. I've often said, I can remember when I was an agent in the UK, I bought one property for a client I never saw. I didn't need to see it. I just knew what he was looking for, saw the ad, spoke to the other agent, got him round there, he ran me back and said, it's just what I want, and that was it, bang, But it's going to happen. People will, it's all going to be done just by looking through your computer and having a walk around and seeing what it is.
Yeah, well, the thing is, technology had advanced so much as well. So now, even if you can't really see the property, you have virtual reality tools, you can go on your computer, and then if there's something that you want to particularly ask, the agent can do FaceTime with you overseas.
That's right.
And I've seen the properties in States has been sold many, many times again with record prices to people overseas through FaceTime.
Yeah. You'll be able to go and ask, well, can I put this particular piece of furniture I love in and et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
Can I fit my double bed in and whatever it is, et cetera. So,
and
I can see that happening very much.
That's right. Another way, this will also shape the real estate industry. Just a little bit side notes as well. And I really think the agent with a good reputation will start to get a lot more good sales along the way, because if people buy it without seeing it, not only they need to know about the property, they need to know who they buy it from as well. So I think in the future, all these real estate agent who's not professional enough, who doesn't have the proper skill equipped and who doesn't really care about the reputation, just come in and try to make a quick buck, will get flushed out of the market. And then for those, especially in the higher end of the market, I think the medium to low end, I'm not sure, but higher end of the market, reputation, track record,
It's everything, isn't it?
yeah, it will just become everything now. It will just become everything now. So this one, the buyer negotiate hard on the sale, and with a bullish final offer, and then the agent couldn't review what it was. However, the price guide was 5.25 million to 5.75 million, but the final offer ended up well above 6 million. Yeah. So it looks like the negotiation didn't win the way, that hard. Toward the buyer side, it was more.
I was just looking at this one down here, Thrupp Street.
Yeah.
Which is,
So this is a unique downsizer as well, from a house to an apartment. This property was in Neutral Bay, 6-bedroom home, entire floor, Art Deco building, 11 Thrupp Street. This is very close to where I used to live.
Yeah.
And
very nice.
yeah, so they live in apartment number 5. And the family and friends come in regularly, so they grab the number 6.
Made a 6-bedroom apartment.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 and 6.
I want to see where they're going. That's what I think the article was about, where they're going to go. They're going to downsize, but
It's a Park on already
the
downsize.
family eastern side. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. At least a unique home. By private tree with a price guide of 3.4 million to 3.6 million. There we go.
See how they go.
Yeah. Yeah, but the thing is, what's so interesting about this property is it's big, but it doesn't really have a view. See?
No, I mean,
Yeah, so it's not a water view. It's not it's just looking into another apartment block or some old townhouses, and it's 3.4 million. I'm very excited to know how much they can sell it for, because I own a lot of properties in Neutral, or some properties in Neutral Bay. So I wanted to be able to see how that turns out, which will help myself. And obviously, the off the plan is flying out as well. This is another property next to a property that I own, and then it's off the plan. I think it's called Bala, by a Chinese developer.
Yeah.
So not only properties of established houses are actually selling, off the plan, apartments, everything is flying.
Everything's going.
Everything's going, and it's always like I think
When's
it
the
always
Christmas rush.
Yeah, it always starts with the high end houses first, and then going into the medium end houses, and then goes into the high end apartments, and goes into the medium range apartments. That's how it always works in at least in the last cycle. That's how it worked.
Yeah, well, I think, as I said to you the other day, I mean, Warriewood, places you can, up near their Rat Park, they're all going for 10% over what everyone thought they would. They've just, everything's sort of booming. That's down at sort of just slightly, well, then over 2 now, but, was it 4 months ago, they were under 2.
That's right.
They were 1.8,
Yeah. And then we always been talking about Lower North Shore Eastern Suburb. The office that we have is located on the border of Lower North Shore and Upper North Shore. So this week, I'm so happy to see what's happening on the northern side of my office, which is the Upper North Shore. And this news was from North Shore Times, which is a very good local paper. And looks like the Upper North Shore start to receive a lot of really good price points now. Really good price point now. First of all, a new record price in Killara at 19 Coringa Avenue. This is the one. This is the house. Just to give you a little bit background for the people who doesn't really, who's not really familiar. The majority of the house in Upper North Shore doesn't really have any ocean view. They don't really come with, like, how you Lower North Shore, most of the time you can see the heads, the ocean. In the East Suburb, you can see the bridge, the opera house. Majority of the houses in Upper North Shore doesn't really get a view. Or not, at least not a water view. So this one has triggered a new suburb sales record for home without a tennis court.
But they've got, they're big houses. I mean, well, no, not all, but I mean, places like Gordon, Killara. You get big houses. A lot of them have got tennis courts. the thing I always find is, you know, they're on the railway line so they get always been good in terms of the professional people, and the schools are excellent.
Oh, the schools are excellent.
That's the reason that they attract the prices.
Upper North Shore is very family oriented, very family. Upper North Shore has now, to my knowledge, become the first choice for a lot of new migrants now, especially the migrants from China. They want to be close to Chatswood. You know, they want big houses.
Big houses, Chatswood, and they want the education.
They want education, so pretty much the only suburb ticks all the 3 boxes is Upper North Shore. Your Lower North Shore, you do get other things as well, but Upper North Shore has another advantage, it's got a train station. A lot of people who come to Australia, especially the wives, doesn't really know how to drive, so they prefer something close to the train station.
Right.
Yeah. So this one has been sold between $9.5 to $10 million. It is a new suburb record for houses without a tennis court. Yeah, I'm not sure if that's thing actually. Yeah, and then they have, you know, prices. Taramara, you know, Killara. We have this gorgeous house. By no means, this is a beautiful place. It just doesn't come with the view. The pool, the cellar. That's impressive. That's very impressive.
But let's face it, I mean, not a lot of Chatswood has a view, so...
No. And Chatswood is...
And that's never stopped.
Yeah, Chatswood is easy 3-4 million now. Easy, yeah.
So...
Yeah. There we go. Another sale, 5-bedroom, sold in June, 6.65 million. See, from the agent. There is no shortage of buyers, and there's a lot of money out there. Yeah. That's the Australian market for you. Another Grand North Shore home changed hands last week, selling a ban on its guide of 8.5 million, and this is in Golden. So Golden now have houses that's 8.5 million. You know, we're in a new era. You know, I'm very impressed. Very, very impressed. This is the owner. It's a very nice pool. Water feature. There we go. So Upper North Shore, hot. And then let's go back to the eastern suburb. Looks like there's something happening in suburbs every week. This one is Vancluse House with view of Macquarie Lighthouse, sells $460,000 over reserve at auction. It's a very nice view. It's very open and nice view, but it looks like it's on the far side of Vancluse. It's probably on the border.
I know.
Yeah. Is this somewhere close to Dover Heights already? Is it?
Yeah. Well, I assume it is. It's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So really, it went sort of
4-bedroom, 4.5
million over that, isn't it?
Yeah.
I get lovely views. Gosh.
Yeah, it started at 4.5 million, and then goes up to 4.96 million, so almost $5 million for this house here. Yeah, that's its backyard open up to the park. It's a very good place to live. Bit far out of the center of the eastern suburb.
You get fantastic ocean views, and you get harbour views.
Yeah,
it overlooks the harbour as well as the ocean.
That's right. It looks like you're living on a golf course actually. I really think $5 million, 4.96 is actually a good deal for something.
Yeah.
With this type of view.
Lighthouse views.
Yeah, interior is very average. It's not a upper market finishes, but
small yard there.
Yeah, they own the 500 square meter Battle Axe property. Also, it's only 500 square meters land as well. Since 1990, and they paid 300. They paid what? 310,000.
10,000, yeah.
Oh, okay.
So
that's very interesting. So there we go. That's another week. That's all the news happening all around, especially in Lower North Shore, Upper North Shore, and Eastern Suburb. I'm pretty sure with the stimulators keep coming out, and if the bank does ease the lending process, it could help the market boost again a bit further. All right, so
I think that depends. All depends on, you know, the banks will keep lending as long as the employment situation is okay.
That's right.
You know, as long as people are in secure employment and they can demonstrate they can repay, then the banks will loan them the money willingly.
That's right.
Banks make money from loaning money, so.
That's right. That's right. Or whether you get sacked or you got a
get promoted.
a pay rise.
You get promoted, you're done for.
You're done for. That's it. Don't change. Don't change. All right.
You can tell all your staff that, then you don't have to give them any more money, Petey. So you can just tell them, oh, don't take a rise, otherwise you won't be able to buy.
That's right. Okay, so let's go into this week's deeper analysis and some of the thoughts we have, and then some of the property we sold this week. So what are the 3 signs for a rising property market? So you know how, as a real estate agent, I always get asked a lot about this question, and buyer will come in and say, oh, you know what, you're in a declining market, you know, you're in a bad market or whatever, and then you know, a lot of times, you know, they say this to because they heard it from their friend, they heard it from you know, their school friend, they heard it from, you know, their mom and dad and all that. But you know, what in professional eyes, what are the 3 indicators about whether it's a rising market, falling market? We're going to talk about that a little bit in here. Second thing is, what are the 6 property-led steps to economy recovery, which is a summary recently done by the chief economist of REA. So just come in a little bit.
I'm just trying to let you see this.
Yeah, and the insights and sell of the week. So start with the first one. What are the 3 signs?
That's interesting.
Sorry. What are the 3 signs for a rising property market? In Australia, we're fortunate enough because there's a lot of data that's actually open to public.
Yeah.
There's a lot of information that you can get. So for whoever that thinks it's a falling market or rising market, in professional eyes, we only look at it with these 3 indicators, which are all available publicly anyway. Yeah. So first thing is the median price. You know, obviously, I think in the news article we talked about earlier, and if you've been keeping watching the show, if anyone been watching the live stream, you know they will always talk about 0.5% down or 1% up or whatever. That is the price. When we say the median up and down, that's the median price.
Yeah.
That's the median price. A median price is not average price. Average price doesn't mean a lot of things, especially for houses. You know how Monclo's have houses that's $24 million, $95 million, and then $4 million and $3 million. You know, so average price wouldn't give you the actual indication. Median price will. So we line up the prices from the cheapest to the most expensive and pick the middle guy as the indication about how much the market is in this area.
Yes.
And then if the median price is rising, it is a good indication about the price is rising in the market. Yeah. However, it need to be really combined with these other 2 factors as well, which is the second one, auction clearance rate. We do trainings for our staff every week, and then a lot of staff was asked this question, didn't know how to come back to the buyer, and didn't understand how to guide people through the process. And we always say, you know what, the second indicator, auction clearance rate, is actually available on Domain and the REA publicly every single week.
Yep.
The data may be differ because the source of data come in differently, but in general, it wouldn't be too far off. Maybe one of them is 65%, the other one is 70%, but in general, they wouldn't be too far off. Yeah. If the clearance rate keeps at 70% or above for a period of time, let's just say 4 to 6 weeks, it means the market is stabilized.
Yeah.
It means
and it's going well.
It means it's going well, which means 10 property going for auction, 7 of them get sold.
Yeah.
Which is good number, which is a very good number. So if you're looking at a clearance rate for a particular city or for a particular area that has got 70% and above for a consistent of 4 to 6 weeks, it means the second-hand market in that area is changing hand pretty rapidly.
Yeah.
It's stabilized. And then the last indicator is days on the market gets shorter. So if the property is put up online, say domain REA, automatically it's start to attract a time trigger, which counting the days is going to be on the market. So slowly going forward, the days on the market will increase. In the bad market, simply put it this way, it takes longer to sell a property.
Yeah.
In the good market, it takes a lot shorter to sell a property.
I think that's something you were saying, which we haven't really discussed today, is that there's a lot of stuff coming in that we didn't show you. Is a lot of stuff coming in now that houses and apartments presumably are going very, very quickly in the established areas.
Yeah, in the news, I think it was in the Upper North Shore thing.
I guess you've got
this one. This one right here.
That's right? July.
Yeah, this one is in Wahroonga. Yeah, 3 Hampton Avenue. Very good designer house. And then it was sold in 4 days. It sold in 4 days.
Yeah, but it says that's last year, July last year.
Yeah, after just 4 days.
Then, yeah. But I mean, it is. But I've heard that houses are going now very, very quickly. So people are now putting bids in before the auction, etc.
Oh, we had buyers that we've been trying to tell them that you need to put your offer in, because once you go into auction, it takes 2 people to want it.
That's right.
To get a ridiculous price for it, and you don't want to get into that shoe. A lot of people just wait it out and see and all that. If you see this good interest in a particular property, our suggestion is to make an offer before it goes to auction.
Yeah, if you're a buyer.
If you're a buyer. Yeah, if you're not a buyer, it doesn't matter. But if you are a buyer, then and doesn't want to pay more for the same property, then yeah. So again, recapture this: 3 signs for rising property market. Median price is rising. No argument there. Auction clearance keep at 70% and above. And then days on the market get shorter. If everything in a particular area, the days on the market is like, say 3 weeks, and you're going to the agent saying, it's going to take me 4 to 6 weeks to make an offer. Well, you probably won't get called back again. Yeah. If that's what you want. Yeah. All right. So next thing, this one is prepared by Narita, and she is the chief economist for REA. What are the 6 property-led steps to economy recovery? And we can already see the market gets better and better, not just because it's a natural thing. I think the government and a lot of entities evolved into this whole industry has been pushing forward together to get it done. To not only it's leading the market back into what it should be, it's actually creating a lot more opportunities for all the people involved all around anyway. So the first thing is that in order for economy to recover, from property side, what they can contribute is to make the stamp duty change. And that's already happened as well, right? How first home buyer, in Sydney now, anything under 800,000. Brand new, no stamp. That's a lot of money. What's the stamp duty on an $800,000 apartment?
Well,
yeah, it's about $40,000, isn't it? Roughly about 5%. Yeah. So $40,000, and it's not really something you can borrow. You need to actually prepare for the $40,000. Year advance before you even settle the property. And for a lot of people, that's actually a lot of money.
Oh yeah.
So
for a lot of people, that's several years saving.
That's several years saving. So make changes to stamp duty is the first thing that the government has been done to help the economy recover, and has received better results already.
Yeah, well, I think, as we said last week, I don't know how long it is, but certainly the first-time home buyers are resurging at the moment, and we've got a greater number of them actually buying, where over the last few years, and certainly leading up into 2017 and the the Royal Commission, one of the issues was that all the first home buyers were getting squeezed out, mainly by the investors. So it's good because we need people, it's good, I think, for the country that basically people get on the property ladder. We don't want people being squeezed out of the property ladder. At the moment, house ownership's been falling percentage-wise of the country. And also, if you need first-time home buyers to actually give the people who are going to buy the houses, the bigger houses in 10 years' time or whatever it is, as they move through it, as their ages and their families change and they move through.
That's right. And, and also I really think to make it go further, it will probably just stop at just first home buyer, or probably to expand to more buyer types as well. Like, how we just discussed a little bit about the Canberra market. In the Canberra market, the government has been trying in Canberra to abolish a stamp duty altogether in order to move the local market. And once stamp duty is out of the way, the transaction cost in the properties are getting reduced a lot high. It's become a lot less to transact property. So that's going to really boom, the property market, especially in the selling and reselling sector. Yeah. And then what the government has planned is to change the stamp duty into something like a land tax.
I was going to say that's that's what I was going to say is they'll get rid of the initial 5% up front, but then you've got to pay it on an annual land tax. So, but that's, in some ways that's better.
Some ways it's better because that means it's up to the people who owns more property as an investment to calculate their risk. And so there will be less and less investors to push out the first home buyers who are really needed a place for themselves to live in. So that's how the market works, and it's already been introduced in many other countries already. Australia didn't invent this; it was just the idea that's already been established among different countries in the world already. The second thing is target new developments. Which is it's a no-brainer because the new developments will really help the economy a lot by, first of all, majority of the new developments now are coming in mixed-use buildings. So not only they are, residential buildings, but like Mirvac, like Meriton, what the developer is a multi-use building where shops, retails, and a lot of these things that's happening. And then, by introducing new developments, it's going to help with the building industry as well. So, people in the building industry will start to get more jobs, and they'll relate back to architects, firms, interior designers, whole supplier chain about who's providing the stone, the timber floor, the kitchen, So it really helps a variety of ranges of people.
It was like I said, 25% of the economy in Australia is the property market. So that's the one thing. The government will always try in Australia, because it's such a dominant part of our economy, the government will always try and find ways to keep the property market going. It relies on the property market for its income, GST, stamp duty, etc.
Local contribution.
And obviously income tax, etc., from all the people who work in it. And therefore, they'll always, if the property market looks like it's going to be threatened, they will try and do something to encourage it. I think we're going over time.
That's right. And from a government incentive, you can really see this. If a buyer buys a new property under $800,000, then they don't have to pay any stamp duty. But if second hand, the threshold will become lower. And then for people who buy new property between $850,000 to $1 million, they get a partial exemption of the stamp duty. And new home builder scheme, which we talked about last week, $25,000, that goes into new home and new renovations as well. So they're just trying to really use it to stimulate not just the people buy, but also the whole industry,
the construction industry, basically. Around the construction industry, they've got to get going.
And also the banks as well. Lending to new development and all that. Third thing, relaxed town planning restrictions. And we won't go into too much details about this one, but it's it just a further step to help all these remote satellite cities to become, to come into to the action. And the first thing is focus on social infrastructure. I think Sydney prices really boomed recently. Also, very heavily rely on its infrastructure. Sydney is one of the most busy, and infrastructure crazy built, developed countries, capital city in the world I've seen. I went to a lot of other places like London. There's not many infrastructure being put into places.
No, I think the thing is London's got it.
But
Sydney's
always
problem has always been they've never had something like the tube system. And everyone was in a car. When I first turned up, I used to talk about putting development around stations and things like that, and they all laughed at me and said, no, everyone wants a quarter of an acre block and drive to work, because I was going mad when I arrived. But anyway, look, now we've got at last the metro, which has been a long time coming, and they're going to build more of them, and that's fantastic. But basically, if you want to make money, buy something near where the new stations are going to go, because that's what's going to increase. Like we went the other day at Crow's Nest, but that's 2024, but they've just announced the new metro out to Parramatta, so again, wherever the stations are along there, places like 5 Dock, that's the place to focus on.
That's right. And the places already have a metro, like Tallawong, Rouse Hill. No one really, it never come into attention before, but now because of this new metro line, a lot of these things start to get notified. Then if you want to know a good example about how much infrastructure can push up prices, try an area called Macquarie Park. Where Macquarie Park has now become really today I was driving across Macquarie Park, and I see all these big developers, Meriton, Fraser.
Yeah, very well connected. Planning's been allowed to go.
That's right.
They've got the metro. So, and they've obviously got the freeways and the M2s right next to it. So, that's the reason. And it's anywhere, any big city in the world or anywhere basically throughout the world. If you've got good infrastructure, that'll attract property growth.
That's right. Simple as that. And you need to look long term as well. A lot of people say Macquarie Park has been falling a little bit, but if you because I graduated from Macquarie Uni, and then at my uni days, I met a guy that went to the same degree with me, but 2 years earlier. And we were talking about back in the old days about Macquarie Uni, before this metro, rent is about $400 a week for 2-bedroom. And then there's no new properties. Whoever can get, a slightly new property will be next to this little Woolies area, and then it's like 4-level high, and then there's 50 applications on one property for rent every time it happens. And the price point for Macquarie Park at that time was about 300,000, I think somewhere around that, 300,000 and 400,000 for a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom. Now, if you go back to Macquarie Park, the rent there is about 700 to 750 a week, despite COVID. And then some of the 2-bedrooms in there at one time actually reached $800 a week in terms of rent. And then the price point now, people are paying $950,000 for a 2-bedroom. We sold one, old secondhand, for $839,000. And that's just how that market has prospered because of the infrastructure. And things around it.
Well, and it's got all the. It's got most of Sydney's tech companies there.
That's right.
A lot of other companies, and obviously it's got the university there, so that generates a lot of demand.
And also WestConnect, which really reduced the travel time. And then the new metro line is connecting Cross Nest to Barangaroo to all these new areas. Infrastructure. That's something that's really going to help the economy recover in terms of the property side. And the fifth thing is increased migrants. Increased migration. Australia, migration. They've
lost. they were pretty high on migration, and then obviously COVID's hit, so that sort of stopped it pretty much.
It's actually reduced by 85%. Look at the data.
Really?
The migration reduced by 85%.
Who's the 15% getting in? Must be stowaways.
They already have it. It was in the middle process. Yeah.
So I mean, it will come back.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll keep it going.
Yeah. But the government need to help the migration, because a lot of people don't like migration, but migration will really boost the economy. You know, it wouldn't. You know, a lot of people say, you push the prices up. But the thing is, with Australian property, what's so funny about the area is people only buy certain postcode. You know, if you're Chinese, then there's only 13 postcode that you'll be concentrated on. And if you're Italian, there'll be a certain postcode. If it's just so different people. They mix together, but only by a little bit. Majority of them will focus on their own thing, and then people buying behavior is different as well. Pushing up prices is not a main thing for migrants. But if you look at the positive side, because of migrants, there's a lot of developments happening. There's a lot of restaurants, there's a lot of retails being brought into the places. And shoppings and everything. Migrants spending money, and when money gets spent, economy get better.
Yeah.
That's simple. And last thing is the ease access to finance, which we have talked about already. So for Australian local banks, somehow they will change something. That's for sure. Even if it's not, let's just say lending more money to more people, it will probably just make it, easier to lend money to people who need it, and then change the process where the guy that get promoted will still be able to settle on time.
Right. The other way, you just stop all promotions.
That's right. Which may be the easiest thing to do. Starting with my company. Two things that really struck into me this week is two quotes from different people. The first thing is be happy with what you have while you're working for what you want. And this is something. So I think 2020 has been a very depressed year for a lot of people. There's a lot of things that happen. It's very chaotic. For my industry, I've seen people lose money. But I've seen people making money as well. But at the end of the day, what you need to do is to make yourself the inner peace, because if you're not happy with what you have, it's very hard for you to work for what you want, because you just don't have the mentality, you don't have the stabilized thing in you. So I really appreciated that everything I have so far, and I try not to compare myself to, because I have a lot of rich friends. I have a lot of friends who have really good family, a lot of support, or really hardworking and make a lot of money and make themselves, very different from the people from my age. But, I try to work as hard as I can, and, at the same time working more for what I want. And I think that goes out to everyone. And then next thing is, if there's anything you're not happy with in your life, it can be changed. It might take time, patience, the hard work, but it can be done. This is from Andrew Crew. He's a very young entrepreneur, one of the original YouTuber that actually used YouTube to change his life. By posting up video clips and blogs and all that. So we're in a very fast changing times. A lot of, I think that the whole thing is just to make yourself happy with what you have. Because I've been under a lot of stress recently on different things, one way or the other. It was just very tough weeks for me. But I found out that later on, it doesn't matter how much external, pressure that's cracking down on you. The only thing that can really destroy you is yourself. So as long as you keep yourself happy, whatever happens, after time, it will just become nothing.
What seems important and terrible at the time is nothing when you get it.
That's right, and maybe even just a little bit of a laugh, after some wine.
That's a good one. I mean, You know, if you're not happy with something, then you just change it.
Just change it, and it can be done.
Yeah.
It can be done. It just depends on how you're willing, how much you're willing to do it.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can't say, you know what, I want to make a lot of money and then just drink beers and sit on the sofa all day and do nothing. That's not, that's not changing. That's just, taking with what you have. You need to work for what you need and what you want.
Right. Could be anything, couldn't it?
Yeah, so last thing of the last is the sell of the week.
Right.
It's a little thing we have done this week, and I take it out because I'm just so excited about there's more investors coming back onto the market. It's not a very expensive property. It's a studio. Small, it's in Post Point, but I see this because it's a signage that we've got investors back into the market.
Right.
And then today I've taken.
So what is it? It's just a bathroom, is it?
There's no bedroom, just a bathroom.
No bathroom, no car space, just a bathroom.
Just a bathroom. Yeah. Yeah. So in that sense, it was a pretty good sell. It's a pretty good sell. All right. 5:30 every Saturday. Thank you so much.
Cheers. Have a good week.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
go and buy some property.
Yeah. This is Peter
Gary.
and Gary. I will see you next week.
Cheers. Bye.
All good?
Obviously not.